What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for today. Here's what's happening. The last time we met, we had touched on the Cleveland Browns and this Johnny Manziel saga, the ongoing Johnny Manziel saga. Now, even though I didn't get to dive into it like I really wanted to, due to time constraints, of course, I'm back again here to give you a little bit more detail on why the Browns continue to fail. Now, I think I'm an authority. Scratch that. I know I'm an authority on this subject in particular, if no other subject, because I'm born and bred right here in Cleveland. And as I tell all the guys in the shop and anybody I run into on the streets here in Cleveland, for me to be homegrown, it's very unfortunate that I live here, but I don't love here. And I'm a sports enthusiast, or, as I said the other day, a sports purist. Listen, man, and don't tell nobody you heard this, am old enough to remember the Browns in the 80s. Brian Sipe, NFL MVP. Bernie Kosar, Reggie Langhorne, Slaughter, Mack, Biner, Brennan, Infante, Schottenheimer. Although I'm a little bit hesitant to dive into Marty. Yeah, that's another story for another day. But anyway, I remember a time when those teams made it or gave you a reason to invest in what it means to, quote unquote, play like a Brown. Now, you'll hear that with this current regime or this current team, and you've heard that since this team came back in 1999. But what it means now versus what it meant then is two different things. What it meant then to play like a Brown was give it everything and anything that you had to in order to win. Even in defeat, no fan who ever watched a Browns game in the mid-'80s anyway, let's keep that in mind, that's the theme here, could ever walk away or would ever walk away from a Browns game being disappointed in the effort that was given throughout the entire contest, every time, all the time. Yes, were the losses painful? Of course, Red Right 88, the drive, the fumble. My gosh, especially as a youngster, not really understand whose mind wasn't fully developed or is not as developed as it is now at, I'm not going to say it, that I'm old enough. Man, that stuff was painful because you don't understand that all as a kid. All you know is that's your grandfather's favorite team or your grandfather's favorite teams. So you want to root for who your grandfather root for. It was embedded in you. So you understood what they were out there doing, what they were playing for. The Cleveland Cavaliers even, with Mark Price and Doherty and Nance and Hot Rod. Yeah, they fell short too. The Shot. We all got all these titles for all this Cleveland sports miscues or misfortunes, especially in the 80s. But this new brand of Cleveland sports is terrible. And yet and still, what's crazy about it, Cleveland fans have spent far more money on this new regime and this new era of Cleveland sports than at any time in the past. And this new era of Cleveland sports is not even worth it. Not even worth the money that that Cleveland fans have dished out over the years is printed on. At the end of the day, it's no way in the world that since 1999 and counting, and I'm not going to tell you how many years that is. I know it's at least 14 or more. I'm not good. I'm going to have to carry my one, subtract my. But yeah, right. But it's too long. I ask Cleveland fans all the time, what are the Browns giving you for your continued investment? Yes, the Browns as an organization, Cleveland sports in general, yes, they are taking. But what are they giving? 4-12? And if you really look at the 4-12, the 3-13, and this current 2-10, what do you see? That's not even football. It's what the Browns are doing is a disrespect to what the NFL was based on from day one, from the onset. It's garbage. And yet you say you're a fan of? Die hard? What are they giving you to die for? I mean, just against the AFC North alone, the Browns' record, they probably haven't even won 20 games against the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers combined since 99. I think the last time I did a show, I know seemed like eons ago, but I had said I think the Browns were at the time like 21 and 90-something. Or I'll say this, their overall record, the Browns, since 99, is what, 84 and 192 or something? That's insane. And here it is. We hate the Steelers. Cleveland fans. I hate the Steelers. Why? Because the Browns are garbage? Don't be mad at them when you should be mad at your team. Don't hate the Steelers. Hate the Browns for not playing the way the Steelers play. How about that? It's time to get off this train. Take the emotion out of it. Take the homer to a fault out of it. Enough with the excuses. Especially when it comes to the Cavs. He tired. They was tired. He had no help. Man, cry me a river. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. The Browns had no business drafting Johnny Manziel. Not from a production could he or couldn't he standpoint, but from a persona, baggage standpoint. Anybody who's anybody or got half a brain out there, I ask you to do this. Go and look at the Browns and the Cavs of the mid-'80s and the Indians of the mid-'90s and look at the culture of those teams versus this new Cleveland sports culture and this new era and this new regime of Cleveland sports. The mantra then was our, not my. This town does not do well with fanfare. It doesn't. You cannot win with fanfare. Let me say it like that. This town and this sports is predicated on theater and not substance. You can't have both. Not in this town. You can't have both. We, instead of trying to take a star and build a team around that star, and I've said this before and I'm going to keep on saying it. How about building a team and then let a star emerge? George Karl said it too. Head coach of the used to be Denver Nuggets. At the time, he was head coach of the Denver Nuggets. That's what works here in this town. That's why I always reference those teams of the 80s and the Indians, of course, of the mid-90s. Because that's how those teams were built. Now, did they win it all? No. But at the end of the day, you could hold your head high as a fan saying, hey, look, they gave it what we as Clevelanders would give it. At least back then. These teams now, again, what are they giving you? Fair exchange ain't no robbery. The Browns ask you to pay for, as a taxpayer and a fan, a stadium to be built, upgrades to the stadium, PSL license, and the seat, and overcharge for water and hot dogs, parking, and you got to pay to sit in it. Did I say pay for the seat? Yeah. And then have the nerve, after a 40-something odd or a 37-3 blowout, turn around after the broadcast is over, and the first commercial that comes on right behind the Browns debacle, come get your season tickets for next year. Come on, you can watch the Browns play the such and such. Really? How audacious. Yeah, I said it. Of the Browns and any Cleveland sports team in this town to continue to ask you, they are pilfering. And guess what? You're allowing it. So don't be mad at it. I cannot stand the person who wants to blame everybody else, but not themselves. Browns fans, Cavs fans, Indians fans, you are just as culpable as those that you are mad at every other week. The Browns should never have drafted Manziel because the star is greater than the product, at least in this town. We're more concerned about who, what, and why not, than what are you not doing on the field. This current Browns team this year, in watching them, and I do it, trust me, not because I'm a Browns fan, but because I love talking sports. So I'm compelled to watch it. They have failed to generate a pass rush unless it was a blitz. That tells me that the technique being taught by the teacher is terrible. And here's what I say to people who every year, and we all know this, if you know anything about the Browns, whether you're a fan or not, you know that the draft, every draft is the Browns Super Bowl. Who have, and this is well documented, of course, but I'm going to ask you, who have the Browns drafted on offense or defense that will strike fear in the opposition, i.e. a Dez Bryant, an Ndamukong Suh, or used to, Aaron Rodgers? You know, you get the idea. I hear Tony Rizzo on KNR, ESPN 850's KNR, and I don't listen to it often, but when I do every now and again tune in, I hear him constantly talking about he wants the Browns to continue to lose this season so that they can get the number one pick. For what? That logic, if you can call it that, is asinine. And here it is. He got a show. Sorry, I digress. Get the number one pick for what? So that they can do what they did with all the other picks that they had that were high draft picks? Blow them? See, any pick can be a hit or miss. Any pick. This is what the Browns felt, and Tony Rizzo and guys like him who think like him fail to realize. Any pick can be a hit or miss. But do the Browns have what they need in their front office, the brain trust to understand how to minimize that risk? No. They need to get rid of them coaches, the whole lot of them. Scouts, anybody in an administrative position, they need to clean the building out. And Haslam needs to hire somebody in the capacity of a Bruce Arians or a John Gruden or a Bill Cowher. Not because of those names, but because they understood and they know how to get it done correctly. Stop playing with all these first-timers. You know why the Steelers could hire Mike Tomlin as a first-timer? Because he had an element that the Steelers did not have when they hired him in 2000, whatever it is. He said, look, they said, look, we have everything that we need in place already as an organization, our structure. We've been doing it. We only had 3 head coaches in the last 500 years. We don't need you to reinvent the wheel here. What we need from you is your understanding and how to relate to the hip-hop generational player in the NFL. He said, cool. That's all we looking for. The Browns are not the kind of organization that can hire a first-timer. They need somebody who has done it before. Can Manziel play? Yes. But when who you are is bigger than what you can do, and especially in a town that's so fragile, you got to go some other way, son. So again, it's not who the Browns are going to pick. It's who's doing the picking. Because there actually may be some kind of talent on this team. But if we have the type of organization or the brain trust who wants to or who has a microwave mentality, an instant, hey, let's do, or who is victimized or suffers from that Me Too complex, they'll never win. The Browns won't. Not in this town. The Browns may have changed their look, and not by much, if you ask me. The uniforms are horrible. But their fortunes will remain the same if they cannot beat the teams in their division and structure or put together the type of team that can not just beat the Steelers, Ravens, and the Bengals, but the kind that can beat anybody in the NFL. This is a travesty what this team has become. This is a disrespect to football. A disrespect to football. All the way around, no matter which way you want to look at it. Up, down, side to side, it don't matter. This organization, I'm to be honest with you, they should move again. Now, does Cleveland deserve an NFL franchise? Of course. But as a near and dear friend of mine said to me from the begin, Herm Arvey, former Browns offensive lineman, by the way, when they came back, like most upstart NFL franchises, if you would, they should have come back with a new name, new logo, new everything. So you can't just pay lip service to, quote, culture change. You got to actually do it. I'm sorry. Because at the end of the day, just because you put lipstick on a pig, don't make it a prima donna. It's still a pig. It's going to find some slop. Or as I like to say, putting powdered sugar on a pile of dog poo don't make it a funnel cake. Stop putting on deodorant knowing that you ain't washed your behind. That's what the Browns and Cleveland sports in general, that's what they need to understand. Stop trying to buy one. Go build one. Don't talk about building one. Go actually build one. Go put somebody in that front office who gonna go get it done. But then again, from the Browns organizational standpoint or from the brain trust of the Browns standpoint, I got to say, they actually got a nice little thing going. Okay? Look here. If I own a grocery store and I know that I'm stocking my shelves with stale bread, it's costing me 25 cents a loaf, and it's flying off the shelves, well, I'm going to go buy fresh bread at $1.25 a loaf for. If I know that the people will keep buying the stale bread. Yes, is the Browns organization trifling, beyond trifle, in? Yes, it is. But at the same time, the culpability, or there is some culpability, more so than some, that lies with the fan as well. Because it's not Jimmy Haslam's fault, or Ray Farmer's fault, or Mike Pettine's fault, or any other player on that team's fault that the Browns were worth $1 billion. That's your fault. So while you being mad at them, rightfully so, be mad at yourself. You sharing the blame. The fan, the Cleveland fan of this current catastrophe. Hey, like I said, I done long since took my emotion out this whole thing. You're not going to get me. I'm not buying no jerseys, no hats, no none of that. Look here. And here's the crazy part. It's folks who are fans of the Browns, and in any other capacity, they wouldn't throw their money away. But they'll do so on the Browns. And then want to come have a conversation with you, one of what they perceive to be intellect. How? You don't have no intellect. If you dishing out your dollars at a rapid fire pace for the Cleveland Browns or the Cavs or the Indians, exactly. Yes, the Browns have got to be the worst franchise in the history of the NFL. And I mean, we're talking about a Detroit Lions team that went 0-16. We're talking about a New Orleans Saints team that was my gosh, horrendous. I mean, at one point, yeah, and they were called at one point with Archie Manning, Hall of Fame player, by the way. You all know Peyton and Eli's dad. They were called the Aints. But here's why the Browns are worse than them. Because if you looked, when the Detroit Lions were going 0-16, look in the stands throughout that entire year. You may have seen, there were more pigeons in the seats than there were people. When you look at the Aints, the Saints, who were called the Aints, during that debacle of some years, look in the stands. There were more peanut shells than there were people. Fast forward to the Cleveland Browns. They are 2-10 right now. And I guarantee you that prior to next season, games will be sold out. That's what makes this Browns current regime worse than any other team in the NFL. Will Manziel go somewhere else and play well? Yes, he will. But I tell you what, it won't be for long. If, in fact, he has some sort of drinking problem, and I'm not saying that we all got some things that we are ashamed of or some things we wish we didn't do or wish we couldn't do. I'm not here to sound high and mighty. No, by no means. But at some point, if you know you got a problem, if you can't handle it yourself, you have to know, hey, I need some help. Now, did he do all of that? Yeah, he went self-admitted and all of that. But I'm saying that for this instance, it's if you just went through the motions of getting help or recognizing that you need help, it's gonna catch up to you. So here he might go somewhere else and play well. We're not talking about his talent, his physical abilities and all that, but we're talking about them demons. Because there's some cats in the shop who think that this whole Manziel thing, at least here as of late, they question, what did he do wrong? Like the Browns, for what the Browns are trying to do to him or what they did, suspending them 2 games and all of this fanfare. What did he do wrong? I want to clarify or make this clear. Just because he did not end up on a police blotter does not mean that he didn't do anything wrong. Are the Browns trifling? You heard me say that already. Yes, they are. But at the end of the day, if I'm Johnny Manziel, anything and everything you do is put under a spotlight when you're in the public eye. So whether I agree or disagree with my bosses and their take on me, knowing that I've had some things that people like to discuss out in the open or in public, I'm not going to give them any fodder. If I'm Johnny Manziel, I'll say, you know what? I'm tired of my name being out in the media or tired of my name being out on the airwaves or out on the street or whatever for all the wrong reasons, of all the reasons that people perceive to be wrong. From here on out, I'm going to take it upon myself that if there's national media talk about the Cleveland Browns and my name is in it, it's because I'm doing what I need to do or doing what it takes to win it. not tossing it up and all that old other stuff. You are the reason why. Not solely, but you play a large part in why all of this conversation is negative about you, man. Don't give them a reason. If you don't want to be in no it, don't put yourself in a predicament. Now, that's separate from the Browns being anal or their brain trust being inept. Stop giving them a reason. Because the next stop you go to, if you give them a reason, I don't care how well you play, you're going to be out the door in less than a day. And that would have been worse than a Jamarcus Russell or any other quarterback who didn't last long in the NFL, because you have NFL ability. And it would have been wasted. You can only get away with whatever you're doing for so long. There are laws, whether people want to admit them or not, there are laws in the universe that say if you go out, it's going to come back. History repeats itself. So at the end of the day, look, Johnny, we know your bosses don't like you. But do your bosses or whoever it is, and I say your bosses, I'm not talking about the owner, I'm talking about the coaches. If they're not liking you, or if they don't like you, does it have anything to do with you at all? Or is it just them being jealous of you, or just them not liking you? Well, it's too much confusion in collusion, if you would. Not togetherness, but I'm talking about all over the place. Fuzzy, not a clear picture. So I'm going to remove myself from the picture in that, again, anything I'm doing or saying or any of my actions that are being recorded, it's going to be strictly football. Because in these last 4 games, you know, just like I do, that Manziel is auditioning for somebody else. But make them want you not just for your talent, but because of who you are, man, your character. Straighten yourself up, dog. And be gone from the Browns, because they are a sinking ship. If it ain't already halfway sunk, as it's more than halfway sunk. Excuse me. It's more than halfway sunk. I keep telling people in this town, the Browns, it's not that they can't get it right. They ain't going to get it right. They don't have to, because they've been getting it wrong for so long, and you still paying for it. I don't have no incentive. There's no need. If you giving me top dollar for garbage, why am I offer you top shelf? Browns fans better find somebody else. Y'all better adopt a team. Guy asked me one time on a Monday following another Sunday of a Browns debacle, man, how come you not mad? I said, look here, man. When I was 10, it was okay to cry. But now that I am this age that I am, y'all thought I was going to say how old I was, psych. I get up and feed my kids. Okay. That's a warning, eh? That's a warning. Look here, y'all. It's been fun, but I got to run. Appreciate y'all for checking out the shop report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. It's Barbershop J. I'm gone for the day. Holla.